Okay. Now, this has now four sentences. Medyo, ano na, dumami siya. Dumagdag ng isa. Okay. And, dumami yung choices. Okay. Now, one technique that you will find when you are, pag nakakita kayo ng, although hindi to common, pero on the chance that you find yourself with possible answers na may naiisa yung iisa yung first sentence, no? Wag ka nang magsayang ng oras. Piliin mo na si letter D. Napili mo si letter D. No, you're okay na to. Wag mo na, don't stress yourself na sa first sentence. Okay? Now that you know topic sentence, madali na lang yung sagutin. Kasi 'di ba, half the battle is finding your topic sentence, right? So now, 50% na lang ang trabaho mo, 'di ba? Which is not too bad, no? Lalo na kapag time pressure 'yan. Dapat mabilis dapat tayong sumagot, no? Okay, so pero dapat yung the speed, no? Wag yung wag yung not too fast, no? You have to again, kaya nga in these problems dapat basa ng you read and you read again and you read it again, no? Okay? So, okay, now we know that our first sentence is letter D. Career service eligibility is a major requirement to apply for a job position in the government. So, essentially, it's talking about career service eligibility as a major requirement to apply for a job position in the government. Okay, so it's talking about that, no? Now, how do we find the second sentence? Read the remaining sentences. Okay, letter A. This will be one of your tickets to land a job in the government. Okay. Did I just ask a question? Okay, I'll read it again. This will be one of your tickets to land a job in the government. Letter A. Letter B. That is why many people apply to take this career service examination. Letter C. If you pass the exam, you will get a certificate of eligibility. Okay. Now, again, you are trying your best to give out a logical and organized paragraph. Ibig sabihin, you have to choose a sentence that should follow the first sentence. So in this case, you test it out. O pag si A sinunod ko, will it make sense? Will it make sense? Career service eligibility is a major requirement to apply for a job position in the government. This will be one of your tickets to land a job in the government. So compared to letters B and C. No, actually, let's try letter. Okay. Before we do that, let's first try letter B. Career service eligibility is a major requirement to apply for a job position. Period. That is why many people apply to take the service examination. Period. Or let's try letter C. Career service is a major requirement to apply for a job. Period. If you pass the exam, you will get a certificate of eligibility. Okay, now, una, tingnan nyo, it cannot be letter C. Obviously. Bakit? Kasi letter C speaks about an exam. Okay? And letter D, your first sentence did not talk about any kind of exam yet. Diba? Hindi pa, wala pang pinag-uusapan na exam. Anong klaseng exam sinasabi mo? Diba? So, ibig sabihin, this letter C cannot follow letter D. So, hindi pwede yan. Out yan. Okay, what about letter B? That is why many people apply to take the career service examination. Okay? Or even letter A, this will be one of your tickets to land a job in the government. Okay? Now, it could either now be letter A or letter B. So how do you choose what is best? Okay? Now, again, importante dito yung contextualizing. Looking at the kaya wag niyo i-isolate yung mga sentences kasi you are choosing you are choosing the paragraph kasi. So when you read the sentences, dapat nire-relate nyo siya with one another. So in this case, the more logical thing to follow here is letter B. Okay, which is your second sentence. Why? Bakit kaya? Kasi, 'di ba? Um, okay, try muna natin 'yon, no? Try muna natin kumuha ng initial pala na sagot. Okay? So, that's my second sentence. My third sentence would now be letter C. Why is that? Why is letter C my third sentence? Remember this, the exam. Okay? 'Di ba? And it speaks again of a condition. Ibig sabihin, it talks about something that came before. 'Di ba? So, that that means that it's talking about this exam. By the way, here's a tip, no? Um, kapag in writing kasi, in writing a paragraph, no? Kapag first time mong sasabihin ang isang term, dapat kompleto 'yan. Okay, dapat specific 'yan. Okay? Pero kapag uulitin mo ulit, pwede mo na siyang iklihan. You can use a shorter term. Okay? The analogy is just like using pronouns. 'Di ba? What is a pronoun? A pronoun is meant to substitute a a noun usually, no? So for example, in the sentence John is walking, period. He is walking with his dog, period. So your noun there is your subject pala. Your subject noun there is John, and he was substituted by the pronoun he. Okay? Just like here in this term, okay? First time binanggit ang career service examination. 'Di ba? And then the next sentence is the exam. So ibig sabihin, 'di ba? It's talking about a term that was na sinabi na. So it talks about the career service examination. So that is why C is now my third sentence. No? And finally, my last sentence is letter A. Okay? So that's my initial answer. So I go to the possible answers and I check on that. So D, right? D, B, C, A. This is my initial. Initial lang to ha. Initial. Now, after I get my initial answer, what I usually do is I try to check yung ibang possible answers. So for example, punta ako number 1. DCBA, D, career service eligibility, if you pass, doesn't make sense. So out, eliminated. DBAC, career service, that is why many people apply. This will be one of your tickets. If you pass the exam, you'll get a certificate. Maybe not, diba? Kasi, again, letter C should follow letter B kasi nga it talks about an exam, diba? Just mention. And number 4, DCAB, career service, major requirement, letter C, if you pass, again, eliminate them, right? So the most logical answer that we can find, the most plausible answer that we can find here is number 3, which is D, and the next is B, and then C, and then A. Okay? So, ito, I know it's, yung pag-explain ko ng kung paano siya gawin is lengthy. Pero kapag ginagawa niyo na to, no, lalo na pag, sanay kayong maghanap ng mga words na yan because you read a lot, no, or you train, you review a lot, no, mabilis lang siyang gawin, no. So, again, you practice and you read. Okay? Alright, so now, so the answer is definitely number 3. Alright? So now we are in sample problem number 3. Alright, so in this case, there are now 5 questions, 5 sentences, and you have now 5 possible answers. No? And as you can see, yung technique na ginawa natin kanina, hindi na natin ma-apply yun kasi the first sentences that are here in the possible answers are iba-iba na siya. So you have D, you have A, you have C, and you have B. Okay? But what you could do is, after of course reading, no, dapat may unang basa yan, yung mga sentences, no? You get the general idea. So, talks about first procedure of the bill, to go back to the house if the president approves it, bill undergoes a procedure, and on the third reading, the votes shall be recorded, and if the bill is approved, it goes to the president for approval. So these are the ideas. So these are yung mga important details, no? So now that we know the topic sentence, the topic, it's talking about essentially talking about a bill, no? It's talking about a bill and how it is the procedure of a bill becoming into law, no? Okay, so you can now what the first thing that you should always do again is to find your topic sentence, no? So again, compare everything, compare all these sentences, no? And ask yourself which is the sentence that best introduces the topic. Okay? So, upon reading all of them, no? Okay, hindi pwede si letter C. Why? Kasi it starts with if. Ano ba ulit yung ano natin sa if? If means na merong kondisyon mula sa previous sentence. Okay? So, hindi yan pwedeng maging first sentence. At least, as pag tinignan natin itong paragraph as a whole. Okay? Pati itong letter B, hindi rin pwede to. Otherwise, sabi niya, ibig sabihin, may condition na hindi nangyari. Okay? So, ibig sabihin nun, merong dapat na there has been a previous sentence. No? And, pag si letter E naman on the third reading, no, it doesn't make sense. Right? Especially if you compare letter E and letter D, diba? It doesn't make sense starting with on the third reading, the votes of the lawmakers. Diba? So, but it can certainly be letter A. Diba? So, our yung mga possible answers natin, possible topic sentence, letter D or letter A. Right? However, diba? However, what sentence is the best here? So, yun ang task natin dito. So, if you compare them and you look at the entire paragraph, no? So, D says a bill before becoming a law undergoes several procedures. The first procedure is that the bill passes through 3 readings on separate days. Now, kung mapapansin nyo, this is the only instance where procedure is mentioned. No? Wala nang iba. These are the only 2 sentences where procedures are mentioned. Right? And these are the 2 likely candidates pa. Pero, di ba? Letter D, no? Introduces, no? If you look at the context, no? It's like, kasi pag, kunyari, nilagay yung letter D sa 4th sentence, will it make sense? Sa 3rd sentence, will it make sense? Right? So essentially, or if you look at it like as a whole, no, letter D actually suits the 1st sentence really good, right? Because if you put letter A now as your 2nd sentence, diba? Tingnan nyo, letter A actually, kung babasahin nyo maigi, follows letter D, right? Kasi letter A talks about a bill undergoing several procedure. And then A says, the first procedure, so ibig sabihin, it is describing what kind of procedure is D talking about. No? So there you have it. So it is a parang you can logically see that A follows D. No? Okay, that's our now 2nd sentence. Okay, what's the 3rd sentence? Okay. The 3rd sentence, that the candidates for a third sentence. My bad. Okay. So this is the first one. This is the second one, and then so this talks about, tignan nyo, it talks about 3 readings, right? And did we see this before? We saw it in letter E. Diba? It talks about the third reading. Diba? So, again, because they follow each other. Kasi pag nagsusunod-sundan yan Pag nagsusunod-sunuran yung mga yan mapapansin nyo na lang. When they follow, pag nafe-feel nyo tama yung order, pag nagsusunod-sunuran sila, and they talk about it logically, no? Or chronologically, no? They are, ibig sabihin, they follow one another. So essentially, letter E is a really good third sentence. And then, for your fourth sentence, no? It is letter C. Bakit? Why did I choose letter C? Okay, look at this. So, in the third sentence, sabi niya, if the bill is approved, okay, it goes to the president for approval or veto. Okay? Now, approval, and the other sentence talks about the president approving the bill. Okay? So, sumunod yung usapang approval ng bill. So, logically, no? Or chronologically speaking, C can follow. It can follow letter E. Kasi it makes sense. Diba? It talked about approval in sentence number 3, and it talked about, and it expounded about that approval on number 4, on letter C. So, it just really makes sense. No? And then, now we go to the fifth sentence, the final sentence, which is otherwise, the bill will go back to the house from where it originated. So, it follows letter C because otherwise, diba? What does otherwise mean? It means hindi nangyari. Or if it doesn't happen. No? So, here, if the president does not approve the bill, it will go back to the house, which is true. No? Which is true naman. Which is factual. So, again, some general information can help. No? Some can help. But that is our answer. No? So, D, A, E. So, this is our initial answer. So, again, if you're not convinced, you read it again and you ask yourself, does it make sense? Or you can compare it. Bilisan yung basahin yung ibang options dito and you ask yourself, does it make more sense than my initial answer? If not, then most likely you are correct. No? So the answer here is number 1. Okay? Which is really the answer here in this problem. Okay, so that ends the module. All right. If you have any suggestions on improvement, or if may mga errors, mistakes na nabanggit, please feel free to message the page the page administrator of Batas for Everyone, and he will tell me through that suggestion on how we can improve on this module. No? So that's it. I hope you guys learned something at least, and help you prepare for these kinds of questions, and hopefully you guys learn some techniques na rin. So I'll be seeing you in the next module.